Yo, people, welcome back to another episode. Me, your boy Josh and Ore, who is telling us. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, do the usuals. You know the ones there. Share with your people, share with your friends, get the podcast growing. You know the ones trying to get to 100 subs in it. So you might know what to do, usuals. But yeah, let's get straight into it. FA Cup. And let's go to the main game. What's it called? Liverpool City one. Bro, they absolutely cooked City in the first half. Absolutely cooked City. Do you honestly believe that these guys can win the quadruple?
Yeah, I think it's definitely possible. Um, I think I called this very early in the season that they could possibly I think I called them like possibly winning the treble. Or now the quadruple in the chance is really incredible. They've won the FA Cup. Sorry, they've won the Carabao Cup. The FA Cup looks very likely now. Although Chelsea is still a very tough team to have in the final. Um, the league, they're only just like a point or something just off. And I would say they're favorites for the Champions League. So it's definitely a possibility. And that would be crazy. It would just be because everyone has kind of been thinking about City being the first team that would do that. And for Liverpool to just come under, obviously Liverpool are not like underdogs, but like just for them to just do it without everyone kind of like expecting it. I think everyone has kind of been always City are going to win the quadruple. City are more or less tipped to win the quadruple like every season. So if Liverpool actually does it like before them, then that is quite impressive. But yeah, I feel like they would definitely need Salah to pick up. He's just been a bit, off. I think the AFCON kind of probably just got to him a bit, as understandably it would. But yeah, they really do need him, the same Salah that started the season. If they can get that same Salah for the last couple of games, then yeah, I definitely think they'll win the quadruple.
Mm. So before we get into like the individual parts, I only really watched the first half. What I saw from the first half really was that City were mentally and physically tired. That Atletico game took a lot out of them. You could just tell by the way they were playing. Obviously, I know they made some changes. I know Ake was playing instead of Laporte, so obviously, like the ball progression from deep was lost, and we saw that. But just overall, their performance looked like there was so much fatigue, so much tiredness in it. I don't really remember a City game this bad in a while. Maybe against Leicester last season, but still, like Liverpool just dominated them physically and everything. But looking at the game in general, I think that's the front three for Liverpool. Salah, Mane, and Diaz. I think that's the front three. Like, even though I think Jota goal scoring wise is excellent. I feel like Mane offers you more over 90 minutes in terms of like he's good with his back to goal. He can bring players into the game. And obviously, I think the fact that Liverpool have Thiago and Naby Keita, which makes them a more possession-based team in a sense, I think it even helps them even further. But let's look at that team. Would you say that's Liverpool's strongest team? Because Konate as well, he looks good as well.
No, actually, I would say it wasn't actually the strongest team. As for probably for the strongest team, I probably have Matip in above Konate.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the strongest midfield. Yeah. Yeah, but really, I think just kind of Konate was absolutely brilliant, but I just think Matip just slightly edges it over him for me. Obviously Matip has way more experience, and it's like, I definitely think Konate will be the better centre back in future. Matip is just slightly better, but besides that, yeah, I think you're actually right. I think that is really their strongest squad, to be fair. But also, I always say it also depends on the type of opponent that they're going up against, which is why I think like Klopp is really happy to have that kind of like versatility in the front line. So he can just kind of switch about depending on the style of opponent like he's playing. Like against United, we might as well see Jota, start right there. Don't know. Certain games like that because he might need a player who can kind of like, stretch the line a bit. And then he might need someone like Mane, who's a bit more, has a lot more to offer than just like, so yeah, I think it's kind of like having that like duality where you can kind of pick, which is a problem that Liverpool kind of had, which is kind of like depth in the squad. So I think them having like the like multiple options in that front three is, and they can switch them about quite effectively. I think mostly it's really Diaz, Mane, and Jota that can kind of switch around those two positions. I think Salah is obviously bang on for the right wing, but yeah, yeah.
So let's move on to City. I don't really want to get into the Stephen thing because I feel like that's a bit overblown. Pep trusts his second choice keeper. He always plays Stephen in the cup game. But a question, so there'll be two questions. So the first one, is City's depth as good as we give it credit for? Because it seems like they do actually have quite a small squad and it's not quite as big as we maybe said that it was maybe a couple seasons ago. Like, I don't think they have like two starting 11 like that. Because you've seen with the rotation that, they're bringing in Fernandinho, they're bringing in Ake. I don't mind Ake, I kind of like him, but the depth isn't quite as strong as it was a couple of years ago. Do you think that's a big concern for City? Or, I mean, it's Pep in it. Pep will always find a way.
Yeah, no, not really, to be fair. If we look at the starting lineup, they had about, I'm just bringing it up here. I think they had about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe even 7 players who don't like start that regularly. Obviously there's Stefan in goal. Zinchenko is not a regular starter. Ake is not a regular starter. Fernandinho is not a regular starter. Even Grealish, Sterling, and Jesus, they're all not, regular starters. So ineffectively, they're using essentially their second team to still go toe to toe with basically a complete Liverpool side. So no, actually, I think their depth is still pretty decent. The game ended 3-2 and it was fairly balanced, like in the long. Obviously, they had that horrible start, and like obviously Stefan had, those couple of errors that kind of like tipped the scale to Liverpool's favor. But yeah, I think their depth is still pretty good. The type of players that they can put up who don't even start regularly is quite impressive. Like if Liverpool dropped 6 out of those players, then I think that's an easy win for City. So yeah, in terms of the league, they're still very far off in terms of like the amount of depth. So I don't really think anything too much to worry about. And obviously this summer they're obviously going to reinforce again. So yeah, they'll definitely be fine.
So we're going to talk about signings now for City as well. But one of their main signings from last summer was Grealish. And let's be honest, do you think there's a major surprise in the way he's playing? Like, I'm not mad surprised, and I don't get why people are like shocked. Obviously, I think 100 mil, he should be doing a lot better, and the guy of his quality should be. But when Pep buys his players, they always have a bit of a bedded in period, and I'm not really surprised that he isn't firing in the way that he is. Obviously, he's not going to ever have this freedom that he had under Villa, but learning and adjusting to a Pep team usually takes time. Like players like Diaz, maybe even is just a centre back is a bit more easier because Laporte also kind of bedded in quite quickly. But what's your thoughts on Grealish so far this season? Are you really surprised what you've seen, or?
Not really, to be fair. I think it was always kind of known that like Grealish wasn't like an outlet per se. He was just more of like a creative left winger. Kind of knew he would have a slow start to the season. Definitely don't think he was worth 100 million. I think they definitely overpaid for him. Doesn't take away that he's still a quality player. Still incredibly good on the ball, still incredibly able to find spaces and stuff like that. But I just don't know why they signed him though. I don't know why they signed him. It was one of those ones that really, I was really confused about. Definitely like they had players who could play left wing, even in depth as well. So yeah, it was a very confusing signing for me. Maybe more will come to light eventually. Maybe Pep has a plan for Grealish, but yeah, I wasn't too surprised with the signing itself. And you'd probably have to say overall he's had a. Thing is, I don't want to say a poor season because that seems harsh, but I don't know. When you're spending 100 million on a player, you'd probably just expect a bit more. So yeah, don't really know, how I feel about that signing per se. I don't really think it was the right one. But yeah, I think obviously it's just about how he can grow in City. And he is like starting to look a bit more comfortable when he does get into games and stuff like that. But yeah, yeah, that's basically it.
No, I hear you, man. So moving on to the second semi-final, Chelsea beating Crystal Palace 2-0. I have a soft spot for Palace, man. I do like Palace a lot, man. I wanted them to win, but I knew Chelsea Liverpool is what needs to be done for the final to stop that quadruple. Because I'm on record, I don't want that quadruple to happen. No way. No way, that's too much, man. How can one team be winning 4 trophies? Nah, that's selfishness, man. But I want to ask you a question. So looking at this team set out by Tuchel, there needs to be improvements, 100%, in order for them to reach City and Liverpool's levels.
Yeah.
Looking at that team, what players are you replacing? So what players are you taking out and who are you replacing them with? Because looking at this team isn't enough to challenge for a title.
I really don't know, to be fair. It's let me just take a look at Chelsea's starting lineup.
I'll go on the screen if you as well.
Okay, yeah. I don't know, it's a bit tricky with Chelsea because obviously they use like a different formation in terms of like what's kind of probably the norm. So with the 3 centre backs, yeah, it all gets very tricky because I don't know. I think Rudiger is set to and Christiansen are both set to leave. Silva obviously isn't getting any younger. Definitely Chelsea this summer would probably need to go for a centre back. I think that's definitely should be one of their priorities this summer. In the front line, yeah, I really have to admit Tuchel is doing a fantastic job, to be fair, because I don't even know where to start really with Chelsea. Like, it's not even like some players are bad, but some of them are just not as consistent as you probably like them to be. Like Havertz, I like Havertz as a player, but yeah, sometimes it just isn't as consistent as you'd like him to be. Werner, I don't know, obviously, like, I feel like going on about Werner again is just like, yeah, sounding like a broken record. I think everybody already knows the issue with Werner. Yeah, Aspie isn't getting any younger.
They need to replace Jorginho quickly, man. They need to replace Jorginho.
Yeah. If you're going to keep on using, I don't know, Alonso, it's all just very, very complex. Because what is he going to keep this formation? Does he want to change? It's all very confusing, like really, because that's only how you know the type of players you go for in the transfer window. So I don't really know. But definitely at least 5, 6, 7 maybe players like have to just come out that like ideally probably like rebooting that whole lineup is but the fact that he's being able to get a lot out of these players, like I'm sure definitely some players there he likes stylistically, so maybe only like 3 or 4, maybe I'm overreacting regarding that, like maybe just needs to get a couple players out and just like refresh it with a couple new ones. And yeah, but if you're thinking competing with Liverpool and City, it's not an easy job. So yeah, I guess just a couple of players in there that just probably need to go. And then just refresh with a couple. And yeah, maybe they could push for a title next season.
Because I'm even looking at that. Look at the wing backs. Look, I love Aspie. You know I love Aspie more than anybody. But in 2022, Aspie's your right wing back.
Yeah, that's
Come on, that's hey, you're on mute. Yeah, I think he went on mute still.
fair.
Yeah, no,
Am I still on mute?
Yeah, you're back now.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, Aspie and Marcus Alonso. Oh my days, at that. That's shocking. You can't. Obviously, I know it's going to be James and Chilwell as the main choice, but still, Alonso to be your backup is pretty appalling. Vernon, yeah, Havertz is good, Mount is good, but again, they don't have that star quality player like, let's say, Liverpool having a Salah, Mane, City have in, your Sterlings. Chelsea don't have that player, so that's really going to hold them back, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't think we've sort of spoken about Palace. I don't think we've given them their credit that Vieira is due, because obviously when the season kicked off, a lot of people had their doubts about him, but he's done.
Yeah, I was one of them as well. Yeah, I definitely have to give him his credit. He is outperforming everything that I thought he would achieve and stuff like that, and it's just really impressive the job he's doing at Palace. Yeah.
The only thing with Palace that they need to improve on desperately is the midfield. Obviously, Gallagher's good. Slop's been good this season. I like him, but I'm sorry, I'm not fucking with Kouyaté. Kouyaté, and I think they need to upgrade in that position. But overall, they got some great young prospects in Eze and Olise. And obviously, Edouard is there who could develop. I think they have a strong back four as well. Maybe a better goalkeeper than Guaita. But
yeah.
I think they're on the right progression. Obviously, there's only so much you can progress with Palace, obviously, because of their limitations. But still, I feel like there's a good ceiling there. Hopefully, we'll see what they do in the window. But I like what I'm seeing so far. I think there's a good sign for the future with Palace. 100%.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, no, that's 100%. All right, we got to talk about our boy Dyche, man. They did him dirty.
Yeah.
What was your thoughts when you heard that?
I was just a bit surprised, just coming at this time. The timing just seemed very off. Being in a relegation battle, and just getting rid of him. I don't know. It seemed very, 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 very odd. But yeah, I don't know why they did it. I still think there might be something else involved going on behind the scenes, because it just seems like a very, very weird and odd time, and just like a very weird sacking, to be fair. And it wasn't even like a mutual decision. Like, he was sacked essentially. So yeah, I'm a bit surprised by that one. I definitely think he's overachieved with Burnley. Yeah, really, really respect to him as a manager. I would definitely love to see him go to a club that respects him more in terms of the budget they give him, because the budget Burnley were giving him was actually in itself disrespectful. So yeah, any club, literally, I think Everton would be a lovely place for him to go. I think they'll definitely give him the funds he wants, and he can just have that license to build with the team. Obviously Lampard is there right now, but yeah.
He'll be gone soon. He'll be gone soon, don't worry.
Yeah, I just think Dyche has so much experience, so much knowledge of the game. And he's been limited, so limited in what he can do. And he's still been able to pull it off. So just seeing him with a bit more license freedom would be amazing.
Yeah, no, 100%. The thing that really shocked me is just that they didn't have a replacement like ready-made, didn't
it? Yeah, they didn't have a replacement lined up. That was a bit off.
And they were talking about getting Big Sam, but I don't know if that's gonna work in a sense.
Yeah.
It just wasn't. It just wasn't. I don't know, man. Maybe there must be something behind the scenes, like you're saying, isn't
it? Yeah, 100%.
It was a bit. And you think someone like him, he has quite a lot of credit in the bank, where he can probably get them relegated to the point where maybe at the end of the season you're just like, all right, yeah, off you. Yeah, that sacking is I think is a shock. It's a shocking one.
It's a bit of a shocking one, yeah, 100%.
What options else were there? So there was Allardyce. Who else were they saying?
I don't even know really the options I was saying.
I don't know if I saw Rooney. I don't know if he'll go there. I don't know who else I saw. I wasn't really looking, but there isn't anybody in the market that I feel like Burnley could really get to come close to replacing that. So I think they're going down. But they didn't win. They didn't win against West Ham anyway. But still, yeah, nah. Poor from our perspective. Let's move on to the Champions League and Ore's favorite team, your guys, Disney. You know what? I'm actually quite shocked that they didn't make it through because they were one of my top 3 teams, them, Liverpool and City, and I was looking at them to minimum semis in it. But Villarreal, man, Unai Emery. Are you messing with all that Unai Emery revisionism or Arteta and stuff like that?
No, definitely not. Emery definitely has like a standard of team where he can kind of obviously we've seen how he played in PSG, we've seen how he was in Arsenal. Like I think when the standards are a bit higher, he underperforms. And when the expectations are lower, then he outperforms. That's always kind of been the type of person Emery is. So yeah, very actually genuinely happy for him that he was able to like find his spot again, especially after like how everything ended with Arsenal. So yeah, definitely happy for him.
100%, man. Obviously, yeah, we kind of touched on this game a bit, but the Atletico and Man City, this wasn't football. This wasn't football. This was just World War III, as someone would call it. It was just a battle. But one thing that I think like people have to give credit for City for is that these are the type of mental games that you have to play sometimes to win the Champions League. And I think they did well in it because I know Atleti had a couple of chances, but I thought City stood very strong, especially with the injuries. I think De Bruyne and Walker came off. But I thought City showed a mental resolve that shows that they're almost growing into this European journey. And this is going to be very important for them, especially in the final as well, if they make it, just to have that mental fortitude of continuing to go on even when the cracks appear in it. Do you think, how big do you think this is for them in long term for their European journey?
Yeah, I just think it's really, really huge because when I was speaking about City, Atletico, I did have some doubts about City, and I said that mentally and just Atletico could kind of get the advantage over them. We could really go either way. That kind of tie, and just for them to kind of beat Atletico at their own game, which is kind of something City never used to really be able to do. I think they've really matured as a Champions League side. And obviously that's just from experience and, continuously playing in the competition as the years go on. So yeah, I was really impressed with that. I would probably say they should make it to the final. Obviously Real Madrid is a very, very tough side. I think they would get the better of Madrid. Yeah, and if they make it to the final, obviously it's an open game again. I'm sure they'll be super bummed out to lose a final back to back, but yeah, let them just try and get to the final first and then kind of see how they can outsmart whoever does make the final, which I'd probably say Liverpool. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Denzel, Mr. Amar has arrived in the building. What are you telling me, man?
Yeah, man. Yeah, waiting.
Yeah, man. Wait, tell me about this game. Tell me about this. I didn't even watch it, man. I didn't watch it. I was pissed, man. But before you see that Modric assist, see that Modric. You see, man, want to tell me about Son Heung-min and all these type of bears? Come on, man. Come on, get out.
How did it relate to Son?
Denzel, don't worry. Tell me about this game. Do you think Madrid are favourites?
Nah, I think what are you talking about, Man City versus Madrid?
Just about this game. We'll get into that later.
Okay. In this game, Chelsea were the better team, to be honest. You guys should have won this tie. The handball, obviously there was a handball thing with Alonso. I thought it was a bit harsh, but obviously handball is handball regardless. You played well, you dominated Real, but at the end of the day, the experience came through. Like the assist from Modric was filthy, absolutely like insane. And Benzema came in clutch as well. So it's just a matter of the amount of experience that Real Madrid have. And they were able to, they didn't really put on an amazing performance, but they were able to get the 2 goals needed to go through. But yeah, I think it was just a battle of experience and Real Madrid ended up winning it. But Chelsea were the better team on the day and probably deserve to go through.
That's one thing that I've noticed when I watch Madrid a lot is that they don't play very well, but the individual quality they have in like Modric, Benzema, Vinicius, like these are like world level players, like unbelievable players, could get them out of a lot of trouble. So that level of individual quality is just, you can't put a price on it. But all right, what was your thoughts on the game when you were watching it? What did you learn?
Yeah, I was really, really impressed with how Chelsea got back into the game. Probably say that they probably deserve to win it. But obviously in football, it doesn't really work that way. I think Madrid obviously just showed their experience. And just obviously showing that it's not actually over till the final whistle. So yeah, just being able to just, get that equalizer again, and just once they got that equalizer, then it was kind of like, their game to lose, home advantage. You're amped up and everything. So yeah, I thought Chelsea played really, really well, beyond my expectations. But yeah, I think Madrid obviously just had that edge and experience over them. But it's actually quite interesting how like the talk about Madrid could have just been easily changed just with 2 games or 2 ties, I should say. Obviously, they were losing against PSG as well, and they were losing against Chelsea. And obviously, they turned it around both times. But, it's one of those things where if they didn't, it's like, a really awful season, if, it puts in context. But, yeah, not talking about ifs, but they actually did get the job done. They both turned the tie over in both legs. They're now in the semi-finals. So yeah, very, really impressive season. Benzema as well, he's just really, really, really that guy this season. Definitely my favorite for Ballon d'Or as it stands. And yeah, I just think Chelsea definitely shouldn't be hurt or upset too much about that result. Like the fact that Tuchel could get, them back into the game the way he did, is really, really promising. I think definitely, I think he is arguably even actually one of the best managers like in the world right now. I think definitely on his day, he can definitely even go toe to toe with Pep and Klopp, because what he's doing with these players is just, amazing. And, his style and just how he, is able to get back into the game when you're 2-0 down. Was it 2-0? Yeah, when you're 2-0 down, yeah. Or 2 goals down, against a side like Madrid. It's not quite very easy. So, yeah, 100%.
So you said Ben's my favorite for Ballon d'Or. So
yeah, I'd put him as my favorite for Ballon d'Or right now.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, not many. There's only Salah, you could say Mbappe maybe.
Yeah, I think.
Maybe Lewandowski, like usual.
Yeah, a lot of people say Mane could push for a late shout.
Who? Mane?
Yeah.
Get out.
It's not really a terrible shout if you think about it. He's having a better second half of the season than Salah.
It is for 2022.
And AFCON has definitely pushed him, although I don't know how the criteria for the Ballon d'Or works again. I think they might not take into account international. Actually, they will have to, because that happened in January of every year. So, yeah, AFCON would be involved in that as well. I mean, he had a way better AFCON than Salah. Yeah, I mean, maybe not top 3, but he's definitely top 5 or in about there. I would say, just based on his second half of the season, like it's really been. Also, if they end up doing the Champions League and Premier League, then yeah, he's definitely in contention. Yeah.
World Cup. I think because it's a World Cup, yeah, World Cup will trump everything.
And then also, but World Cup wouldn't account to the next Ballon d'Or. It would account to the upper one. Based on the new rules.
Fair enough. So, Ori, you said City are favourites for this one.
For which one?
City versus Madrid.
Oh yeah, I would personally say City are favourites. Yeah.
Denzel, City or Madrid?
I'm going Man City.
Man City. All right. Madrid might feel like they have something to prove because we keep saying that they're not good.
Yeah, true.
So you see that one. But I like this one because there's stuff to play on both sides. So I'm going to go City, but don't count on Madrid. What's the other one? What's the other game? Oh, yeah, Liverpool versus Villarreal. Villarreal are my team for the Champions League, innit? That's my team, innit? Because I want them to win it. Yeah, that's my But Liverpool, it's different. Yeah. I think we're all going to go Liverpool in it, but if the footballing gods are real, you know who you're going for. Innit?
I think Liverpool is just Liverpool is just too much for Villarreal. Like, Juve haven't been the best. Bayern also, you know how I feel about Bayern.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just feel Liverpool just definitely a class above those two teams. I think it will just be just too much for them. They could give them a game, but ultimately, I just think like the quality would always show itself. But obviously, football can always happen, so like not ruling anything out 100%. But yeah, I think Liverpool should definitely have a ticket to the final already.
100%. Denzel, you said you had something to bring. What do you want to talk about your favorite, innit?
What?
We need to talk about your goat.
Oh, Ronaldo. Not even. Not today anyway. We'll get to the end of the season and we'll have that conversation. But I'm not gonna get too hyped for now because there's no point in piping up. I thought we're out of the top 4 race. Then we're suddenly back in it with obviously the 2 North London teams slipping up. But I don't really feel like you said, there's no point in talking about it because it changes every single week. So when it's all said and done, we can have conversations. But if we do get top 4, some uncomfortable conversations are gonna need to be had. I can't lie.
I look forward to
it. Not as uncomfortable as you think, but we'll get there. Let's see.
We'll get there. I think we'll have an end of season review in it. Don't worry, we'll have an end of season review. We'll talk about that. Talking about reviews in it. Who are like top 4 worst signings this season? So let's make a joint one. Who are like the top 4 worst signings this season, innit?
Who did Everton sign?
I don't even
Whoever
know.
they signed, slap them on that list.
I mean, Dele Alli probably
I think
Dele Alli, yeah, his one.
Yeah, I think Lukaku is the worst one.
Lakaka, Dele Alli. 2.
Grealish has been pretty. I mean, Grealish has just been.
Nah, that's harsh.
I think they're definitely worse signings than Grealish.
Who else is there? Sal's been. He's been dog dude.
I said he was going to be trash. I knew it from when you signed him that he was going to be trash. I'm not surprised. Surprised, no, but yeah, he's definitely there. So that's 3. Need 1 more.
Sancho.
I was gonna say
that's a terrible shot. You see, that's such a poor shot.
No,
you don't watch football. Then you're not watching him play.
Bro, I like Sancho. Sancho's my guy, but the guy's been stinky. He's been a stinker.
How has he been? Bro, first half of the season, yeah, he was stinky, cool. Second half, you can't say he's been stinky, like loud.
Bro, I think he's been poor, bro. From what?
Are we talking?
You're not watching it. You're not watching the football.
Are we talking Premier League as well, or just like poor signings in general?
Just
Premier League.
Oh, Premier League, fair enough.
You can do a general one as well. After.
I think Buendia is obviously there as well. I feel.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Sancho is not.
Buendia was signed for almost 40 mil, and
Bailey's been shocking as well. I know he's
Bailey has.
Yeah, he's in that conversation too.
Bailey has shocking. Most of PSG signings actually.
Ramos.
Are we gonna talk about that guy?
Ramos, Ronaldo.
We're gonna talk about the other guy or no?
Which guy? What?
Which guy?
You know what's going on.
Oh, the best footballer ever.
He was signed to win the Champions League. Didn't really deliver, but it's cool.
Doesn't make him. It's like saying Mbappe was signed to win them the Champions League and didn't deliver.
I don't know, man. But Mbappe, came when Neymar was there. This is
He
Neymar and
probably,
Mbappe. Messi was meant to be the
he
final
probably,
piece of the puzzle. Bearing in mind what they were expected to do this
probably
season, it wasn't a good signing. It wasn't a good signing. Bearing in mind what was expected of PSG this season, it wasn't a good signing.
Yeah, you could. I would argue with you if you say it wasn't a good signing, but I wouldn't say it's a bad one as well. Yeah, it's just the signing. Like, there's no positive or negative spin I feel about it. And they could also be because like this is just his first season as well. Like, yeah, there definitely could be
first season.
They definitely could.
Fair enough. But if you're using the first season thing, then you have to say that for Central too. Yeah. That's the thing. You can't use it for one player and use it for another player.
Messi plays a lot better than Sancho. Like, I'm sorry.
Definitely. And they are about to win a title.
But it's a league win title. Let's be real.
I mean, they didn't win it last season, so I mean, it's still something. Who else in the Premier League? Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah, I think.
You did Tottenham by Emerson Royale's he's been doo-doo.
He has been poor. I can't really think of who else they signed. Really.
I can't think of many, man. I can't think of many off the top, but like, I think Lukaku's one's made worse just by the interview, innit? That's what made it really bad. Like, the interview just took it to another level. So yeah, no, that was.
We were having Lukaku in those conversations for Golden Boot. Yeah. Guy's bagged 5 goals in the league, isn't it? 5? Yeah. Atrocious. Terrible signing. Awful signing.
That was bad. Yeah, man. Nah. I can't buzz CR7 today, innit? I'll buzz him another time. I was gonna say something. I'll leave him today. Yeah. Any final topics we want to bring up before we end off? Anything we want to bring? All right. Yeah, man. You man know the usuals. Like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you share with your people. Get us to 100 subs. You know, them ones there. We're growing every day, innit? So make sure you support the guys.
Yeah, I've got a quick honorable shout out to West Ham on reaching the semi-finals. Honorable shout out to them around there. If they bring Champions League football to East London, because obviously if you win Europa, you get UCL. Imagine Champions League nights at West Ham. That'd be something to see. I can't lie, but big up to them, man. Obviously, Sarab's not here, so I'll say it for him. But yeah, big up to them, man. We'll see what they can do in the tournament. Yeah.
Yeah, now big up West Ham, innit, man. Big up West Ham. We were going to talk about them, but Sarah couldn't make it today, and that'll be another one. Maybe when Titch is on as well. So you might watch out for that. But yeah, people, we out. Peace.